Hey guys, I'm dead. My name is Sydney. I'm an SRNA. I had wanted to do this video for a while, but it required a little bit of collaboration, which I'm super grateful that people had been kind enough to share some personal information for you guys today. They shared with me the tuition and cost of attendance for their respective CRNA schools. So we get to take a look at the breakdown of what that would look like for a few scenarios. Hey guys, so let's talk about the cost of CRNA school. As an aspiring SRNA, this is something that I would have wanted to know, just like a real-time view of what all this looks like. And again, I'm super grateful for everybody who had given me the information to make this PowerPoint for you guys today. It was really nice of them to help me normalize this conversation. So the big three questions that you should be asking yourself is 1, how do I afford school? 2, how will I afford to live? And 3, how much should I save? These are all super valid questions, but don't fret, they're all really easy to answer actually. So how is everything going to be paid for as far as your tuition and living expenses? At least for tuition, it's going to be covered under likely the Grad Plus loan if you are an independent that's going to grad school. If you're under your parents, I'm unsure if you're able to get the Grad Plus loan, but you can borrow up to the cost of attendance. The Stafford loan is usually the loan that encompasses anything past the actual cost of attendance, so like living expenses. The quote aggregate limit, so how much you can take out under the Stafford loan, is about $138,500, and no more than $65,500 of that can be subsidized. That means that from $65,500 to $138,500 will be unsubsidized, which means it can accrue interest while you're in school. It is likely that you may have to take these out if you go to a little bit more expensive school, so that is something to keep in mind, but it is not the end of the world. So these are the two loans that you are likely going to be looking at if you're going into CRNA school, not with the idea of paying for everything out of pocket, which people do. I'm not one of them, but kudos to them. All right, scenario number 1. This is a little bit more of an expensive school, but these are out there, especially on the West Coast. This is a 3 years program, $37,833 per the semester. It is important to mention for this person that tuition does go down as the credits go down. Right now for this person, for the semester, the unsubsidized loan amount is $6,834, which means that's the amount of money that would be accruing interest if we were not in a freeze for COVID for student loans accruing interest. So shout out to at least that going for us. The Grad Plus loan is covering $29,599 out of the $37,833. This person did get a scholarship of $1,400, and they're looking at living expenses hovering around $8,800 given to them from the loans that were taken out. This is, for this person, this is about how much they are given each semester. That's something that I wanted to be able to relay to you guys, is whether or not this changes from semester to semester for every school, or if it stays the same. It does change. For this school, they do a really good job of making sure that you get $8,800 for the spring, for the summer, and then for the fall. This is not always the case. So as far as whether or not you need to save, that's a really good reason to save, and I'll show you an example of that. All right, scenario number 2, another 3-year program. The tuition is $28,700 per year. Yes, there is a very wide variant per se in tuition for whatever school that you decide to go to. A lot of the times, if you are like a lot of people, you maybe have one choice, maybe two choices, and you're not really deciding what your tuition is going to be. So that's just something to keep in mind. It is what it is. It's okay. The goal is to be a CRNA, and it's however bad you want it. So this person, their cost of tuition is probably completely covered by the Grad Plus loan. I did want to mention that their expenses look a little different. Their living expenses given to them through their financial aid office. It's about $7,000 per semester for spring and summer, and fall and spring, and $3,000 in the summer. Another thing that happens to this person a little later in their program is they will drop below 4 credit hours. And the reason that's important is that they won't be able to qualify for living expenses. So this person did say, you know, savings, that's when it comes in handy. Or if you're married, it's time for them to be the best husband or wife on the planet. And then they did get a Pell Scholarship, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So this person's paying much less overall, but the thing that you need to think about is what you're going to do as far as living expenses, especially in the summer. So again, savings is a really great thing to have, but private loans are also something that you can think about. Scenario number 3, this is a 2-year program. The reason that I kept it in here is because that's still going to be a thing for until 2025, but likely that this program is actually going to just tack on the same annual tuition, if not like a tiny bit lower for the 3rd year. So it's $69,340 per year. Again, the Grad Plus loan and the Stafford loan are the 2 loans that this person is likely taking out. And this is all done through FAFSA and your financial aid office. It's not something that you go and seek on your own. So it's just something that you can read up on just so you kind of know what you're probably looking at. But these are the 2 loans that are very popular. This person also gets about $8,800 in living expenses per semester, including summer. So while that looks a lot like the first person, it is prudent to mention that this is not always the case, right? Sometimes schools will not be giving you $8,800, especially for that summer semester. It just all depends on where you go. I just wanted to give you an example of tuition breakdown so you still have like the miscellaneous utility fees, you know, all those fees that they're going to like throw in there. So if you're like, gosh, how in the world did I get to X amount of money? Is there anything I can take out? Likely no. And health insurance is something to think about, whether or not you decide to go Medicare, Medicaid route. I always forget which one is which. Don't judge me. Or if you get health insurance through the school, which is sometimes an option. I encourage you to look into that and weigh out what's best for you, because those are both options. And yeah, the school one is usually very expensive, as you can see. All right, living expenses. I wanted to add mine in there because I think it's a really good breakdown of like shit happens. So I have mortgage and HOA. And that car payment was not supposed to be there. My car died less than a year before I was supposed to start school, and I could have gotten a Honda Accord and paid like $200 per month, but I decided to get something a little nicer, knowing how much that I had saved. And my car payment is $350 a month, which puts me over the $2,200 in aid that I get. But I could not have predicted that my car would decide to die and not go with me through grad school, but it did go with me through undergrad. So maybe I was asking too much of it. But anyway, the other thing that I wanted to point out, as far as you just need to be prepared for anything, is I had found out that my cat was immunocompromised, hence the pet expenses being a little more than normal every month. So these are just things that you need to consider, especially considering like when you go into school, like that's when everything's going to happen and like go awry. That's just like the name of the game, right? So I go about $300 over per month, and I have enough savings to combat this, but it is something to keep in mind, because before my car died, I really thought I wasn't even going to touch savings unless I needed to. All right, this is number 2. This person was kind enough to give me their breakdown. Their rent is $970 per month. You can see all of this person's breakdown. Probably going out is really easy to stay in budget right now with COVID, but post-COVID, I'm sure it's going to be a little bit harder, something to keep in mind as well. She comes in right under how much she is allotted per month. So she does a really good job. It's very hard to budget when you've never really had to. I mean, we say we did as a nurse, but I'm sure we weren't perfect. So how much should you save? Super valid question. I recommend that you save at least $10,000, and that's on the lower end, because again, it's just going to happen, man. Something's going to happen. You got to be prepared for it. I personally know that the most expensive thing that can happen in the house that I own, which means it's my problem, is about $8,000. So I have at least $8,000 in case ish hits the fan, right? I have a newer car now. That's not as much my concern. I would recommend closer to $30,000 because every time you start a new semester, there's just like a slew of things that you didn't realize that you were going to have to buy or do. Like, we had to renew a CLS, BLS, and PALS all at the same time, even if we had just renewed it. So I don't know, I don't even remember how much money that was. We had to get certain supplies for simulation. We had to get certain supplies for we had to join AANA. Like, I don't know where like $1,000 goes, and that's that. Like, probably the first of every semester, about $1,000 just leaves. So there's that. A lot of people, I just wanted to mention, save hypothetically around like $0, and they get through, and they're really good budgeters, and they just like cut down and eat ramen, and it'll be okay. And also, if they don't want to eat ramen, they can always get a private loan at a low interest rate, and they will be able to pay it off. So some things that I wanted to mention as far as scholarships. FELS is the scholarship that one of my examples had. It's basically where you enter this drawing where you are able to get up to $14,000 of your tuition paid as a grad student in North Carolina. It's literally a drawing, and I was unlucky. I did not get it last year, but that person did get it this year or last year. And the reason I bring it up is it has to be somewhat of a thing in every state, not specifically FELS, but there are state-specific scholarships that I really encourage you to like seek out. They don't have to pay back $14,000. That's really nice. AACN, AANA, they always have scholarships. There's always university-specific scholarships. I know where I attend, they actually made you apply for the scholarship while you're applying for the school. So, like, I guess kill two birds, one stone. Committing time to the military is also a option. I wouldn't be the one to ask about it, but I do know that people do it, and they get a $2,000-ish stipend, like, every, I believe, month or something. But basically, they are well taken care of, and they have to give back 3 years. And if that's worth it to you, that's something I would think about. Travel nursing, you can be your own scholarship. I know there are schools who say, oh, you can't travel nurse before you decide to come to CRNA school. Okay, if you decide you want to travel nurse a little bit and then make a nice cozy nest somewhere, maybe a year or 2 years before you apply to CRNA school, that is an option, because to have more money in the bank is always nice. There are people paying for school straight out of pocket because they stayed at home with their mom, or they travel nurse, or whatever. So that's something to mention, is like they don't have to take out, I know people who aren't taking out living expenses loans. While the interest rate is 0%, I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. But once it's back up to 6%, I'm going to be pretty jealous of that person. So anyway, that's something to consider. And, there are also schools that don't have such a hang up about if you are a travel nurse. As long as you display that you're a good nurse and you've had good experience, there are schools that are okay with that. If you look at my debunked video, that will give you a really good example of travel nurses who got into CRNA school and are doing just fine. So anyway, will I be able to pay it off? I feel like this is a whole conversation in and of itself, but long story short, you will have an RN salary, you will have a CRNA salary, which is double an RN salary. And at the end of the day, if you're disciplined, you can pay off any of the student loans that you likely accrue. Just don't go buy, not like you'll even qualify to buy a yacht, but don't go crazy. And you'll be able to do it. It's if you want it bad enough, the excuse that you cannot afford CRNA school is not real. That's like, I can't even, when people say that. If you want it bad enough, you'll figure it out, because at the end of the day, you're going to double your salary and you can pay it back. So anyway, my name is Sydney. I'm an SRNA. I hope that this helps somebody. Again, anybody who contributed to the ability for me to make this PowerPoint and help a future SRNA, I appreciate you dearly. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, feel free to reach out. I want to be a resource for you. Good luck on your journey, and I'm excited to meet you.